Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are jumping straight into a kind of real estate story you don't really see on the success reels.
Not at all.
We're talking about the listing that, well, despite a huge professional effort, just went absolutely nowhere.
And this isn't a story about, a bad market or a low appraisal. This is a deep dive into the professional dynamics. We're really charting the slow, almost agonizing dissolution of commitment before a contract is even signed.
It's a real cautionary tale.
For everyone, yeah. For agents and for clients.
So our mission today is to unpack this timeline. We're looking at these non-committal client relationships, trying to identify the bright, flashing signs that a partnership is falling apart.
And maybe more importantly, understanding why the core industry standards, the things that protect everyone, like national MLS rules, why those are just, well, they're non-negotiable. They're the foundation of trust. We've drawn all this from a really detailed case study. It charts a listing failure with some complex land parcels, and it gives us some, I think, very clear lessons for anyone, really, in any contract-driven field on knowing when to walk away.
Okay, so let's unpack this with the initial scenario, because it really did start with genuine promise.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about a significant portfolio of land. So this wasn't just one straightforward house, it was multiple lots.
With mixed title positions, legal restrictions, what are called caveats.
And these parcels were everything from, highly desirable beachfront plots to some pretty challenging inland acreage.
When you hear multiple lots, mixed titles, and caveats, that's an immediate signal. This is not a quick commission.
Oh.
It requires a structured, really nuanced strategy. Caveats are restrictions on the title. You need legal expertise just to review them, just to understand what you're even selling.
And the agent, seeing this potential, they responded with a significant investment of their own time.
A huge investment.
The source details the extensive days-long work the realtor undertook, and this is all before any formal listing agreement was even signed. We're talking about real due diligence.
Right, like reviewing titles, analyzing those caveats, pulling full valuation histories, mapping the parcels.
And then preparing a whole structured marketing plan and a detailed pricing model on top of that.
That's not an hour of conversation. We are talking about late nights, maybe coordinating legal checks, mapping things out on satellite. This is bespoke strategy.
And it has a real dollar value, doesn't it?
It does. Even if that billing clock hasn't officially started, it's professional capital being spent on the hope of commitment.
But instead of a signature, what they got was more requests. It was a request creep.
Yep.
3 meetings followed the initial one, and then a 4th. The agent was asked to price every single lot individually, even though the strategy was focused on selling it as a portfolio.
And then they had to explain the strategy all over again, prepare detailed drone requirements.
And then the nibbling started, right? Adjust the commission, shorten the contract term.
And this is the critical pivot point. This has the core lesson of this entire deep dive, really.
Which is?
Meetings without contracts, they essentially become unpaid labor. The requests have shifted from, a basic consultation to build trust.
To full-on strategy execution without any authorization.
Exactly. The professional has stopped being a business owner trying to secure a contract, and they've started being an advisor, just giving the product away for free.
It's the extraction phase, right? The client is just maximizing the benefit of the agent's expertise, their data, their time.
Treating them like a free advisory service.
And they're not bearing any of the risk or committing to the relationship. You, the professional, you're just subsidizing the client's indecision.
Exactly. And the source makes it so clear that the risk is now entirely on the agent. If that client walks away, they walk away with a multi-day, fully developed strategy, a valuation, a marketing blueprint.
And they've paid nothing.
Not a dime.
So that initial promise, it dissolved pretty fast. And that brings us to this crucial pattern of behavior. The client who wants everything, except the commitment.
And this is where we see the central conflict just laid bare. The client's request moved beyond, let's say, normal negotiation into systematic risk shifting. They wanted more meetings before signing, just delaying.
And they wanted their reduced commission and a shorter listing period. Now, on their own, that might just be standard negotiation, right?
Well, that's a great question because it really speaks to the cumulative pattern. Negotiation is fair game, but when you couple it with the next demand, it becomes a massive red flag.
Which was?
They wanted the core legal protections of the standard industry contract just removed.
Gone.
And crucially, they wanted the right to privately sell the property themselves while the agent still bore all the marketing costs and all the risk.
So they wanted to keep 100% of the upside if they found a buyer.
While the agent took on 100% of the risk if they didn't.
And that's the full service without the contract paradox right there.
Precisely. They were demanding an exclusive agency arrangement where the owner can sell and owe no commission, but they were also demanding the full, proactive marketing of an exclusive right to sell agreement.
They wanted the agent to walk them through every single detail in the marketing strategy, the whole blueprint, before they signed the agreement that would let the agent even act on that blueprint.
Yeah.
And that, for any professional listening realtor, freelance designer, it doesn't matter. That is the moment of extraction. If the client is trying to get full insight into your methodology, your data, your strategy before signing,
They might just take that blueprint and shop it around.
or worse, use it to sell the property themselves, and all your hard work is for nothing.
We have to be clear here. The time to deliver that detailed strategy is after the agreement is signed. Until then, you are an unpaid consultant, not a hired agent.
And the demands, they didn't just stop at negotiation, they escalated into something legally and ethically impossible. And this pivots the whole discussion.
Yeah, this is where professionalism and regulation have to draw a line in the sand.
Okay.
That final email from the client, that was the absolute turning point. It had 6 core requests that just clearly showed a client demanding exceptional service.
Under conditions that stripped every single safeguard from the agent and, well, violated industry rules.
Let's list them, because it shows how far they were willing to push.
Okay, first, they explicitly asked for exclusive agency rights so they could sell it privately for 0 commission.
Second, they wanted the clause removed that guarantees commission if the agent brings a full-price qualifying offer that the seller just decides not to accept.
Which is a standard safeguard, right? Mandated by the industry body, the RAJ.
It is. It exists to stop a client from refusing a perfect offer just to avoid paying commission. Removing it just invites bad faith.
Third, they wanted the tail period, the agent's post-contract protection cut to a tiny fraction of the standard term.
And for anyone non-real estate, the tail period is usually 90 or 180 days. It makes sure the agent gets paid if the client sells the property right after the contract expires to someone the agent already introduced.
So stripping that away leaves the agent totally vulnerable.
It's theft of services, basically. Fourth, they demanded commission would only be due at the closing. They rejected the standard clause that lets an agent collect from a forfeited deposit if a buyer defaults. Again, all risk shifted to the agent.
And the final 2 are the absolute deal breakers, the non-negotiables. They wanted revisions to the MLS agreement. And the source is very clear. That cannot legally be modified.
Not at all. And the 6th point was they still expected guidance on how to keep several lots for themselves.
While also demanding a cohesive sales strategy for the rest of it.
Right. They wanted the agent to manage their private retention strategy and sell the rest, all while stripping away every single safeguard.
Let's focus on that MLS agreement revision, because this is the legal turning point, isn't it? Why is modifying a national MLS agreement such a critical, non-negotiable line?
It is standardized for the entire real estate community for paramount reasons: compliance, ethics, and protection of the entire market.
Yeah.
The MLS agreement, it's a binding contract between brokerages. It guarantees cooperation and compensation for all licensed pros in the region.
So it's not just a contract between the agent and the client.
Not at all. Modifying that standardized document, it risks the listing brokerage's compliance, their standing with the regulatory body, their access to the whole marketplace. It undermines the very system designed to make sales happen efficiently and fairly.
So when a client tries to rewrite a national standard,
The professional imperative takes over. The agent must stop.
it's not stopping out of frustration. It's stopping because the law, regulations, professional ethics, they require it.
Agreeing to those terms would be reckless. It would be potentially illegal. It would set a precedent that invites malpractice.
Yeah.
The agent realized a client trying to rewrite the national rulebook is the clearest red flag that this relationship is just fundamentally misaligned.
Which brings us to, I think, the most important part, the lessons for the learner.
Absolutely.
This matters to everyone listening, whether you're, prepping a sales pitch, signing a contract, whatever. For realtors, consultants, any professional in a contract-driven field, what are the actionable takeaways here?
First and foremost, protect your time and protect your blueprint. Meetings without contracts are unpaid labor. If you're doing the work that takes days, the research, the valuation, before you get a signature, you're giving your core asset away for free.
And connected to that, you have to have the courage to walk away. A client who won't sign or who insists on stripping away protections, they're not a client, they're a liability.
A bad listing drains energy and resources from the good clients who actually respect the professional framework.
What's the second big takeaway?
Do not negotiate against yourself. The moment you cave on that standard legal framework, you signal that all your time and expertise are highly negotiable. If you let a client demand you violate regulatory compliance, you're risking your entire livelihood for someone who has already proven they don't respect your profession.
And critically, do not modify those standardized regulatory agreements like the MLS document. They're standardized for a reason.
For the ethical operation of the whole industry.
Okay, now let's flip that around for the clients listening. The importance of respecting these professional standards. Why should a client care about an agent's boundaries or these non-negotiable contracts?
Because your realtor is not a free consultancy, they invest substantial hours, substantial capital, before they ever see a dollar. If you demand extensive work before you commit, you're disrespecting their professionalism.
And you're probably attracting the wrong kind of agent.
Exactly. The desperate ones, who might be willing to compromise standards. The standard agreements, that tail period, the commission on a full-price offer, they exist to protect both sides, to ensure the system works fairly. Undermining them creates distrust immediately.
Top-tier ethical professionals, they choose to work with clients who respect that fair, established framework.
Right. And you also have to remember, realtors are licensed, regulated professionals. They can't just bend the rules for a client's demands, especially with national mandates like the MLS. They could lose their license.
So when you ask them to strip away safeguards, you're asking them to risk their career.
A respectful, functional working relationship, it has to begin with a signature on a standard, established contract. Without that, the agent is legally unable to act for you. You've gotten a free consultation, sure, but you've lost the services of an ethical, compliant professional.
This whole deep dive, it really just boils down to this. Sometimes the bravest, most professional decision isn't pushing through red flags. It's recognizing when a relationship is not aligned and having the courage to protect your professional standards.
There's real dignity and wisdom in recognizing when it's futile to push a commitment-phobic relationship forward. The problems in this story, they didn't start when the listing failed. They started when that first sign of extraction, that request for the 4th, 5th, 6th meeting without a contract, was ignored.
Know the signs.
Respect the signs and act on the signs.
We highlighted that in this scenario, the realtor could not legally modify a national MLS agreement. It's standardized for compliance, for ethics, for protection across the whole industry.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over. If a standardized document like an MLS agreement is legally protected against modification to ensure fairness in real estate, think about what other standardized, regulated documents or professional agreements exist in your own industry.
Whether you're in finance, construction, IT.
Right. What agreements must be respected to maintain ethical compliance? And what are the hidden systemic risks that emerge when clients try to get full professional service while at the same time stripping away every single safeguard that was designed to establish fairness and trust? That line between negotiation and extraction, it is far, far thinner than most people realize.